Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is where two friends sit down and discuss a variety of topics along with what's going on in their lives. I am Dylan, and with me here, as always, is Matt. What's going on, Matt?
Not too much. First time we've done a podcast in, I think, 3 weeks. So it's good to be back.
I feel like it's been longer.
It's been more. It's been more. I tell myself 3 weeks to feel good that we did one, but we haven't done one. Once a month is what we're going to do.
Yeah, once a month.
How have you been?
Well, it's been the summer, and we're going to take a little hiatus, but maybe we'll roll these out more often, okay? I don't want to, let's not pigeonhole ourselves in. But yeah, I've been
That's true.
Pretty good, Summer's treating me well. Real well.
I don't even think about like this as summer anymore, just because the days kind of blend together. We've been quarantining here in Chicago since end of March.
Yeah.
And it's like, plus it's like, so summer vacation, number one, doesn't happen anymore because we work. So that stinks. Turns out that's part of working for the rest of my life. But yeah, other than that, it's getting hot out. I don't like the heat. So that also could be why I hate heat.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun, especially if you don't have a pool. But I do have a pool, baby. And It's nice. It's nice.
How often are you guys out at that pool?
What was that?
How often are you out at that pool?
I go out. My parents go out every single day, and you can tell by how tan they are. It's crazy. Me, I'll probably stop in for like a half hour every day. I don't really. It's kind of boring, You go out in the pool and you kind of lay around and just like. It's short. It's not like you could do laps or anything, So I'm just kind of like by myself out there. Now, baby Logan will come over. My sister's a little boy. He's like 2 in like 3 months. And he'll come over and he loves swimming, so I'll play games with him. I'll throw a ball around with him and stuff. So, that's fun. But other than that, it's like, I can play video games inside. I can read a book on the hammock. It's just like, but it's nice to cool off, though. If you're outside playing games with your bags or you mow the lawn, it's nice to just jump in the pool real quick and refresh yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd imagine it's nice to have that option. So, like if I go to my parents' place, or even, I guess, here in Chicago, if I go out on that concrete patio that we have in the back, you get sweaty. There's no way to cool off besides when you go inside. Yeah. So there you're like, oh, I could jump in the pool after I mow the lawn or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what I'd look forward to with having a pool.
Yeah, I've been running more too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I'm trying to do more cardio. I think that's the key to long life. So I run like 2 miles, and then it doesn't matter how sweaty you get because you can just go in the pool.
Then you don't have to shower either. All the chlorine.
I don't know how much that works. I like to think that's how it works, but I'm skeptical. Does chlorine actually kill germs on your skin? I don't know.
I think it does, but it definitely doesn't get like all the sweat off.
Yeah, you need a nice scrub. I need to bring a loofah in the pool with me next time I go.
There you go. That's the plan.
Yeah.
How long have you been running for?
Few weeks. I try to do every other day. Because if I do it every day, my knees start to hurt, my feet, the bottom of my feet start to hurt because I'm a newbie. All right, I don't run that much.
That's also just running is very high impact on the ankles and the knees.
Yeah.
So personally why I don't do it. And it sucks, but.
Yeah, I know, and I do it outside on the street mostly, you know what I mean, which is not soft, you know what I mean. So it's rough, kind of hurts my back sometimes, but it's really good for burning calories and getting that heart rate up, And I don't like running on a treadmill or doing stationary bike too much. Sometimes I'll do it, but I just like being outdoors. I listen to a podcast or something and just run my little heart.
Yeah,
my little heart out.
Yeah, I occasionally have run. Not as much since, of course, the pandemic hit, but because our work has a treadmill, although it's broken. I just tried to do it today. Turns out somebody broke it, so I couldn't run on it today. But I don't like running in general. Treadmill, I think, is a little bit more pleasant for me. Not because, I guess, running outside, you get the wind in your face and you kind of have stuff to look at.
Yeah.
But with a treadmill, I turn on like the TV in front of me.
Okay.
And I just kind of zone out and just really just watch whatever I'm watching and just kind of crank away at the treadmill. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I enjoy that more. Plus, it's a little bit less low impact because the treadmill has shocks on it to absorb some of the up and down movement. But, overall, I'd much rather cycle. because it's better for your knees.
Yeah, it is.
But no, what do you listen? Do you listen to music or a podcast when you run?
Well, a little bit of both. So lately, I've been one of the songs I've been listening to is "Knock You Down" by Carrie Hilson and Kanye West. You remember that song back 2010?
No, I haven't.
If
We'll
you
play it
heard
right here for the listeners. No, we
yeah,
won't.
we'll make us no, we'll be claimed immediately. No, that song is awesome. I've been listening to it just because I've been listening to a bunch of older music from high school, and it's rocking. But I'll usually listen to a podcast, H3H3 podcast. Obviously Min-Max show. You know, I still listen to the GI show as well. You guys don't know, you don't know, but Matt knows. And then I've been listening to football podcasts as well.
Okay.
'Cause football's on its way, man. It's coming.
Is baseball back now too?
Yeah, baseball started up.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think it's a shortened season, but they're playing, and
That's good. No crowds though, right? I'm guessing. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like crowds would be a disaster.
I think they have minimal seating, like 10% or 15% capacity, something like that. I actually don't know. I know football's planning to do that, so
yeah, that makes sense. Try to make a little bit of money for the seats that are clearly open right now.
Yeah, people still want to go. I mean, nobody gives a shit. I mean, COVID's rates are going up through the roof, and like people are like, "Fuck
yeah.
it."
It's genuinely probably worse now than it was when we were like quarantined.
I know, it's crazy.
And it's like everybody's like, oh, but we're past quarantine, and it's like we really shouldn't be, because the COVID rates are doing nothing but going up.
Right.
So I don't know though.
Yeah, as soon as they lifted the lockdown, everyone was like, "Oh, we're free. There's no more COVID. Let's run around. Let's share drinks." And then I feel like the government and the city and whoever's in charge of like talking and telling people information is just not doing a good job, because I feel like so many people are misinformed. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I really do. So that's, I think, the main problem.
What is it like? The governor of Florida won't tell anybody to wear a mask. He doesn't like wear a mask to any of his meetings or anything like that.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, Donald Trump doesn't. He never wears masks. That's our president.
He did just yesterday, say, well, you should wear a mask. Could have been 3 months earlier, but
right. It is July 22nd.
At least
he's like, maybe you should wear a mask. Yeah, it's bad.
So, but speaking of COVID, what is it? I was reading did you read it all about like the vaccine?
No,
or not a vaccine. I guess
what
it's
happened?
Like I don't know if it's a vaccine or not. Nothing. There's apparently. I also learned a new term. It's like called blue sky science, which is meaning it's just where a group of scientists kind of just develop and just work on things. They don't have a reason for it necessarily. They just are doing it just to scientifically advance maybe medical tools or vaccines or something like that.
Crowdfunded or something?
Kind of, yeah. Or some like private companies just fund it personally too. So it's but it was apparently I forget, I don't know the exact term, but it's something from Oxford in the UK, where they're like on they've ordered now 100 million tests of the vaccine, and they're going into phase 3, which is the large scale phase of a vaccine. So this is apparently the most difficult one to actually pass, because it has to get good results from here.
Yeah.
But they kept saying, they're like, hope maybe if it goes well, which of course this year's been so shitty, it probably won't. That it's like January of 2021, the vaccine might be ready for like mass production and sent out.
That's amazing.
Which is insane if that's true, because that's like the fastest moving vaccine ever.
Yeah, that would be super optimistic, and I really hope so. I hope we're not waiting until like summer of next year. You know, Jesus, dude.
Yeah,
I don't even want to think about that. That would suck. This year has been shitty. This has been a shit year, you know. And there's so many bad things. I mean, like COVID in general, mostly, you know what I mean? Not to mention all the people's lives have been lost, but like all the things that have been canceled, and like even Chicago, man, I would love to come up and hang out more often. And
I mean, you can.
I know, but like all the bars are closed.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're 25%.
We drink in my apartment. We'd have to have another whiskey tasting. I'd have to buy more whiskey too.
I'll bring a cinnamon. Or what did I bring last time?
It was Was it Knob?
Carmel?
No, it wasn't Knob Creek. It was Carmel something from Nashville. Because I remember when we went, or not Nashville. Where did we go in Tennessee? What was that? What was the place where they have all those places that were crap?
I know what you're talking about, and that's exactly right. It was that brand.
Or was it Kentucky? Where did we
No,
stay?
it was Gatlinburg,
Gatlinburg.
but that wasn't the brand.
No. That wasn't the brand, but that was where it was. It's like where the place was, because it was the whiskey company out of Gatlinburg. Hold on, I'm looking it up right now, listeners.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because what is it? Was that last year when we went?
Yeah, last year.
Last year. Old Smoky.
Old Smoky. That's what I thought. I was going to say. I
Is
don't want
the
to sound
brand.
stupid.
We don't it's not an advertisement. Don't buy it. It's not that good.
It's not. Well, the regular stuff is probably decent, but the flavored caramel, salted caramel. Bleh.
Yeah. Some of the moonshines that we tasted there were pretty good.
Yeah,
But
I thought
that-
the moonshines are very good.
That salted caramel whiskey was just, it was fine. I wouldn't buy it, but it was fine, and I appreciate you bringing it.
Hey, I just wanted to try something different. I thought it'd be fun, and it was fun. We're still talking about it today, so
Yeah, it's a great
win.
story.
It's a win.
great story.
Yeah.
Great story right now.
We were gonna plan a Colorado trip.
Yeah, I saw you and Ray talking about that.
Yeah, well, we canceled it.
It's probably for the best.
I mean,
It's
with
not going to
COVID
get better.
getting worse and worse and worse. One of our friends actually canceled, couldn't make it. A couple of friends, so we're like, why? And then some things happen. I don't want to go into too many details because this is a public podcast, and I don't
Yeah.
wanna call
Yeah.
But we
Things fell
decided.
through.
I was thinking, well, maybe we just go to Denver and hang out in Denver, instead of, because I canceled the Airbnb. And let's just get one in Denver for less people, you know what I mean? Not as big, and then just hang out in the city. But I'm like, well, they're going to probably be locked down as well, like Chicago is,
Oh, yeah.
especially in like a couple weeks when we don't even know how it's going to get worse. So we decided to just do a camping trip to Shade State Park.
Where's that at?
Indiana.
Well,
Oh, it's not
don't-
southern
okay.
Indiana. It's south. It's about an hour and a half south of where I live. Don't tell anyone. Actually, shit. Let's just bleep that out. People are gonna go to Shades and like, all right, where does he live? An hour and a half north. No. They're gonna find out where I live. So we're gonna go camping there. It's by Turkey Run, if you know where Turkey Run is.
I do know. I do know.
It's a really nice park. I've never been there. It looks super awesome. And I love camping. It's something I've always done. It's one of my favorite things to do. My family we grew up. I was like a baby, probably like 1 or 2 years old. My parents are going camping twice a year, so I've been brought up going camping all the way until like high school. It's just fun, it's the outdoors. It's just a beautiful time. It's just, I'm going to bring a book, maybe some board games, and we just sit, talk, no technology, no electricity at our site, by the way. So,
wow.
yeah, and it's closer, so everyone, people who can't make it to a week in Denver, you know what I mean, can be like, oh, well, I can drive down for a night and see the guys.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'd be interested in that as opposed to going to Denver, which I
See?
was a little not interested in.
Exactly, I know.
Depending on the heat. I've probably gone camping, staying in a tent overnight. I'd say I'm not counting friends camping, which is a thing that a group of our friends do, because that's kind of in like a camper unit.
Yeah.
Where they have a pretty nice camper with air conditioning. I've probably gone camping in a tent. Maybe I can only remember like twice, but I've probably gone more than that, maybe like 4 times. I don't think I've gone more than 5 times camping in a tent. Not because I don't like it. I enjoy it. It's usually the only thing that I don't enjoy is when it's hot, because I hate the heat. And if camping in the heat is awful in my mind, because it's just always hot. You're sticky. After you shower, you're going to get sticky again.
Yeah.
And then for summer, it's like just the dew in the morning. It's just like you're always kind of wet when you wake up. At least the times that I went. Maybe I need to throw a tarp over my tent or something, but I'm just always just kind of moist when I wake up, and it's fine. But it's like, I'd rather not be, as most people probably would be when they wake up.
Yeah, well, maybe it was really hot where you were. Maybe really humid or something.
Yeah.
And it depends on the campsite too. You can get one fully shaded, where it's just you're under trees, and
That's nice.
pretty cool under there. We got one kind of in the sun, actually, so it's gonna be a little hot during the day. But at nighttime it cools down, and we're gonna have a fire, and hopefully it'll be nice. Our tents will be nice and cool. And you keep the windows open and everything, and you don't shower until nighttime as well, the very evening. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So that way you don't
plan
get
out your
sweaty
day.
again.
Is there anything like by the campground, like any rivers or lakes?
So there's a big creek, which we can go kayaking, canoeing in at a reasonable price. And there's different mileage. You can go 6 miles. You can go 12 miles if you wanted, which is insane. It's a long. We could do. I actually don't know how fast the creek moves. If the creek moves pretty fast, I think 12 miles actually could go by pretty quickly. But anyway,
It's coming back then after that though.
well, they have a
They have somebody that picks. Okay,
bus.
well then that changes everything.
Yeah, and they just drive you back. So it's really cool that what they got going on there, and the trails are awesome. Like they look cool. There's like ladders, and they're all there's creeks and like waterfalls and stuff. So, and it's right next to Turkey Run too. So we can even just drive to Turkey Run and do those trails if we felt like we wanted to. I don't know, but so it's just like an all like outdoory thing. There's a bunch of stuff to do, and
Yeah,
it should be fun. I don't know. I mean, if not, again, it's not like you lose a lot of money or anything. It's a short trip.
yeah,
So.
it's not a huge investment.
Right. And that's what I like about it. It takes the stress off because planning a vacation is, I hate it, man. I absolutely
Especially with a lot of people, because then you gotta, are you okay with doing this like on this day? What
Right.
about this? Are you good with here? And then it's just the worst.
You can't make everyone happy too.
You can't. And like, especially the one of the hardest parts is like finding a day that it actually works on, like to go.
Yeah, because like five people
somebody's
will
gotta
say yeah, and then
initiate.
one person's like, "Oh, I'm actually busy," and then everyone's like, "Oh, well."
Then what about this day? And then like 4 people are like, no, we can't do that. And then you're like, well, I like this person, but they can't go on that day, and that's just what it's gonna be. They're just not gonna be able to go.
And that's how I did it before. I said, okay, I just got I was talking to like Corey and some other guys, and we're just like, all right, this weekend we're going to Michigan. That's it. If other people want to go, they can go. If people can't go, that's too bad. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna be asking everyone, moving our schedules around. And it worked out. It worked out decently.
Yeah, that was a fun trip.
Yeah, it was a nice little trip. Yeah, by the way, guys, we went to Michigan during our podcast hiatus. We never talked about it. But yeah, we all went up there.
We were going to record a podcast there, but that fell through because we just didn't want to lug all our equipment up there.
Yeah, it was it's probably for the best.
It was also a small building. So if we would have done a podcast, everybody would have like been in the background listening and hearing us. And the listeners would then hear them in the background too.
Yeah, that could have been really bad and annoying. But I did buy another mic and I got a cord and everything, so we can have a guest on now. I'll just invite someone over here, and you can look at both of us.
There you go, and you can both look at me.
Yeah, so maybe next time we'll have a guest. I don't know. We got to see if people, continue to subscribe and write in, and then maybe one of our subscribers or someone who comments on the emails, and emails us. Maybe we'll. Oh, by the way, I didn't plug our email yet.
Yeah, what's that email?
So, guys, if you are interested, we're going to do a segment later called Community Emails where we read your emails. And if you want to be a part of this and you want to write into us with anything, you can write anything, you can ask us any questions. Write into Dylan and Matt podcast at gmail.com. Now, it's not Matt and Dylan podcast. It's Dylan and Matt podcast. Okay? So go ahead, write in, tell us what you want. We do have one person who write in, and we're going to read it a little bit later. But I just want to give you guys a heads up. Also, hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube. We're also on SoundCloud if you prefer listening to this in like a podcast format. And hit the little bell icon if you want to get updated every time we put out a new video. Okay, guys? That's about all I have for that, Matt. All right?
Awesome. I got a question for you.
Hit me.
Have you been watching anything? I know last time we talked about Extraction on Netflix, and now a bunch of new movies are starting to come out on like Disney Plus. Hamilton's out now on Disney Plus.
Oh, Hamilton, we got to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start there. Have you watched it on Disney Plus?
I watched a little bit of it. It was pretty cool.
Okay. I have too. I haven't brought myself to watch the full thing yet.
Yeah.
Because I know my mom really wants to watch it, and she doesn't have Disney Plus or something like that. So I've got to like come down there one weekend and watch it with them.
Has she heard the soundtrack yet at all?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
When I started, because I started listening to the soundtrack probably like 2016. Whenever I started commuting to Chicago, because the drive was awful, and I needed something to waste the time in the car. And Hamilton got me hyped up. So I started listening there, and I showed it to her, and I was like, "You might like this. It's a musical, but it's all like hip hop based. There's singing, but there's rap." And so I wasn't sure if she'd like it, but she latched on and she really enjoyed it. So much that we thought about going again, like to see Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
But of course we didn't. But now it's on Disney Plus. So she really wants to watch it on there. So I got to make time in one of my weekends to go down there and watch it with them too. I don't think my dad will enjoy it quite as much.
Yeah,
He's not a big musical person.
My dad didn't like it.
No,
he saw it live with my mom. My mom and dad went together, and he's like, "Man, I don't like it. It was okay." But he doesn't really like anything, to be honest. So just FYI, heads up for your dad. I don't know.
Don't watch it with your dad.
Yeah, I don't know. Dads don't like it. Moms like it. Dads don't. I don't know.
That's good.
But I wanted to do a duet, like a sing along. Like I want to memorize lyrics to a song and perform it at like friends camping this year. So I was telling teacher Jacob, and to do like Nonstop is the song I was thinking of. What do you think about that? Like he would be Hamilton, I would be Aaron Burr, and I don't know how we're gonna do it. Lip sync it? Not lip. Well,
that'd be tough. You can.
It's a lot of talking. That's why it's funny.
Yeah. It could be funny, depending on how drunk we are. But no, you could probably. I'm guessing you probably could find like somebody on YouTube might have taken out the words and just like remade the music for it. If you wanted to do that, excuse me.
That would be great.
Nonstop is not one of my favorite ones.
Oh, really? It's like one of our favorites.
I mean, it's good. It's good for two people.
Yeah, it is.
I think My Shot's probably my favorite, though.
My Shot's great. Yeah, it's a
long.
Good song. It's a very good song, but it's not like a good duet.
Oh, correct. If we are labeling as what's the best duet, it's
like a two-person
I guess
performance.
Nonstop makes sense. What is Helpless a duet? No. Yeah, Helpless is, because that's Lin-Manuel Miranda and then or his wife.
Yeah, but that's a lot of singing.
Correct. Yeah, you and Beecher wouldn't be able to nail those notes. No
I mean, not really. No.
No way.
Nonstop has some singing in it.
Yeah,
but
it's
I'll
more
do
talking.
my best. But
it's more for it if you want to.
I think it'd be funny.
We still gotta. What is it? Yeah, if you, it's not that hard. I remember. Well, I also listened to it like every day for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I memorized that parts of it. What is it? We still gotta finish our. We're not gonna go into depth of it, but last weekend, we had a jam session. Or no, 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago. My God, things fly by. 2 weeks ago we had a jam session. So I haven't touched that song or rap yet, but I know you had some good lyrics for it. I gotta send the group the actual beat just so people can write down their lyrics for it. Anywho, grazing past that now.
Yeah. Do you want me to perform? I mean, like, do you want me those lyrics?
I don't know if we should do those at the I think we should
never. We should probably
write them down. Never perform it.
I'm afraid
and never do it. No.
So I gotta come up with an alter ego for this. My rapper.
Yeah. So anyhow, but that was what we did like 2 weekends ago. But yeah, I mean, you guys could do a duet. That'd be, I guess, fun at friends camping if people are into it. Some people might just not be into it, though.
No, well, there's some people who aren't into it. Most of the people like
hold people's attention.
I mean, like, if you like him, like, I don't know. You guys could all sing along. It would be like everyone can sing along, But me and Jacob,
you'd have to like perform. Well, didn't you guys do like a power hour Hamilton drinking game?
I mean, we just kind of played the songs and sang along. I pulled up the lyrics on my phone and sang.
That's probably what we'll do at friends camping.
Yeah, I kind of want to do that again, basically. But I want to know the lyric. I want to be able to like stand up and like be funny and perform like the song, and then Beecher can rap. Beecher's really good at memorizing lyrics and rapping, so that's why he's the Hamilton, obviously. He can probably do. I mean, you're pretty good too. I was thinking you guys could probably just do it, but
what's the fun in that? It's your idea.
I know. I want to do it. Or a rap battle. We could do the cabinet battle.
I could bring my laptop again with that. I would do a rap battle out of camping out in the middle of nowhere. No. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, go for it. What is it? Another thing I watched last week that I can't recommend enough. Palm Springs on Hulu.
What the hell
Have
is
you
this?
heard of it?
Never heard of it.
No? Never heard of it? Okay. I didn't know. Going into it, I did not know. But it is like a rom-com. But it's with Andy Samberg and the Lonely Island production crew. Actually, they produced it. They were executive producers on it. So of course, it's gonna be funny. But it's about like it's kind of like a time loop movie, kind of like Groundhog Day, where this Andy Samberg's character is living like the same day over and over again at this Palm Springs resort during a wedding, and then one of the guests, I forgot who she played, like the mom in How I Met Your Mother. You ever watch How I Met Your Mother?
No.
Okay, well, the mom that they revealed to be the mom and then they killed her off like in 2 episodes, that's the actress that plays the other part, and she's fantastic. But that's a really good movie. I turned it on like Sunday night, just because I was bored and I was like, oh, I got to do some work, and I'll just turn it on in the background. And I ended up not getting that much work done because it was genuinely a really fun movie to watch and a good movie to watch. I highly recommend it. It's on Hulu, so it's free if you own Hulu.
I do.
But that's not really free. You're still paying for Hulu. But
I own Hulu.
I have major stake in Hulu.
That sounds good. I actually really enjoy rom-coms, like good, funny, especially with Andy Samberg. I mean, like, he's hilarious. So
he's very good.
Yeah, I'll check that out. Thanks. Something I watched that just came out recently is Down to Earth with Zac Efron. Have you seen previews for this one?
Is that I think it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's not a movie. It's a series of like 8 episodes where he just goes around to different countries and different areas and kind of just does stuff. He's with this guy named Darren, who is a badass. He's actually cooler than Zac Efron, in my opinion. He's like a vegan and like, I don't know, he's just really cool. He's a fun guy. And they go around and they like learn about like recycling and like eating healthy and like being one with the earth, which kind of sounds lame, but it's really cool. You just kind of see how other people live in some different parts of the world. And if you like Anthony Bourdain, if
that's what I was just looking up.
I think
that's what the show reminded me of when I saw like a preview for it.
It's essentially like the same thing, except Anthony Bourdain's a chef and will eat more food, obviously, and talk about that more. But he eats a lot of food too. Zac Efron does, but he obviously doesn't know anything about food. But it's really cool. I enjoyed it. I put it on the background. It was like a good background thing to watch and enjoy and learn. So I actually really recommend that show. So check that out.
I'll have to check that one out because I've been looking for something else to watch now that I finished up. What was I watching? Castlevania. But
Castlevania.
What is it?
Didn't you finish that a long time ago?
No, I never finished season 3.
Oh, what'd you think?
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is good.
And what is it? They just announced like a Dragon's Dogma, which is apparently like another Capcom video game anime that they're going to be doing for Netflix.
Yeah, that's going to be weird.
What was the show? I watched Your Name too.
Oh, you did? How'd you like it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I know,
movie.
it's awesome.
I was surprised. Like, it's beautiful, number one.
It's so good looking.
I was conflicted. I probably spent about like an hour deciding, do I watch the dub or do I watch the sub? Which one do I go with?
I go dub every time. What'd you do?
I went with dub because it's just I try watching sub on some things, but you miss a lot of the visuals because you're reading at the time. It works for Parasite surprisingly well. I watched that with the dub or with the subs, and I don't think I missed too much. But that's because I think it was live action, so you your brain interprets what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's not as pretty,
That's true. Yeah. But did you ever watch Mad Men?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay.
My friend Phil always recommends it. He says
okay, Phil?
Yeah. Have you?
No. I'm looking for a new show to start. And so I was I read something yesterday about somebody who binged the whole season during quarantine. And I was like, oh, I remember hearing good things about that show when it started and when it ended. I just never got around to watching it. And I don't think you can actually watch it on any subscription service. I think it's on like Amazon Prime, but it has ads.
It's not on Netflix? It used to be.
It's not on Netflix anymore, at least. Not
sure?
that I know of.
You check right
now? I'll check. I will check right now. For listeners,
I wanted to watch
I'm
it.
Checking right now. I don't think so, though. Well, think about it. Every TV channel is now starting up their own service.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's not on Netflix anymore.
Damn. Okay.
Who is Mad Men owned by? I don't even know.
Yeah, AMC maybe? I don't know.
Although the problem with watching TV is I don't like to be too invested in it, where like hour-long episodes are kind of grueling for me now.
Yeah, same.
where it's just like I mean I get like for what is it for like when Westworld was on or like Chernobyl or Game of Thrones when it was good. That was fine because it's like an event. Okay, cool. 8 o'clock, 8 to 9. I know I'm watching Game of Thrones. Now it's like if I want to watch something, it's usually like I'm eating. I'm just watching something while I'm eating because what else am I going to do while I'm eating?
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't want to. And an hour long show is just, I'm going to pause it halfway through and then I'm going to come back to it later.
Yeah.
So I try to find like shows that are shorter, but there's just not that many shows that are like 25, 30-minute episodes besides like the comedies that I always watch anyway, which are The Office and Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that's true. Check out some anime, man. They're all 20 minutes.
I should watch more of that. What would be a good recommendation on Netflix and or Hulu that I haven't watched?
Have you heard of Erased?
I've watched it. What is it?
Erased.
No, I have never.
It's a good anime.
Is that good?
It's
Okay.
You'd probably like it. It's not action. It's not combat. Which obviously combat. Most animes are just like like, oh, I'm the strongest man in the world. And I gotta fight the evil bad guy. He's the strongest. And they just fight each other. And a lot of them are like that, and that's cool too. But they also make really cool, interesting shows too. And Erased is a really good one. I think it's like 24 episodes, or no, maybe it's 13 episodes. So it's a really tight story. 13 awesome episodes. Check it out. I think you'll like it. I actually rewatched it just a couple months ago during quarantine, and it took my interest. I was like excited to go because I watch something before I go to sleep every night, and the good shows are the shows that I'm like working downstairs or something, but I'm like I can't wait to go to sleep tonight because I get to watch this show and I get to watch the next episode.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that to me like that's a sign of a good show. And this show, even though I've seen it before, it had that feeling for me, which is pretty cool.
Awesome.
And then the other show was
I'll
Dark.
check that one out.
Dark.
Dark. I've heard. I have a friend, a coworker, or I used to be coworker, an ex-coworker, I guess, who always recommended it when it was on like 3 years ago, and now I hear it's getting a bunch more buzz too.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
in German though, right?
Yeah, it's a German show. You can watch it dubbed German. I've said
how do you
this in the
watch it?
past. The dubbing isn't very good. Just because it's for me, dubbing like in anime is really easy because you can match the lip flaps really well, and there's really good voice actors. But for like in-person stuff, like they gotta match like the laughing and the facial like weird things, and it just looks wrong in most cases. So I
agree with that.
But I still watched it in dub because I don't know. I was bored. I didn't want to read it. But anyway, it's really cool. It's like a mind-bending show, which makes you think a lot, and you got to keep thinking and keep paying attention. So if you like shows like Inception or movies like Inception, and it's kind of like Westworld in a way too. It has a lot of twists, a lot of plot twists. And I don't know how I feel about the whole entire thing. I just finished it recently. It's pretty good. I feel like it's certain people will really like it, and certain people will be like, it was okay. And I'm on the, it was okay.
That's how most shows are.
Yeah. Well, I don't hate it. I think it's really well written.
Or some people don't.
But I also watched it 3 years apart. Like 1 year, and I waited 2 years actually, and then I just finished the second and third season just a while ago. So if you watch it all in like 3 seasons at once, I think you'll understand like the plot a little bit more. Because I was so lost. By the third season, I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on. I almost just stopped watching because I was so confused, but I figured out. And I'm not that smart. I'm not that clever, and maybe I missed some things here and there. But I know you're like for Westworld, you were pretty on top of things. So we're keeping track of all the characters, and I was lost in that show. So maybe that was just me. You know what I mean? Maybe you'll pick it up quicker. But anyway,
yeah. So
that's another show I watched.
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I mean. Other than that, I've a few games. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now. I don't want to go too much into games because some people don't like games. So, but I'm just playing that game right now, which is a fun game just to go back and forth to. Although I'm trying not to play any games on the weekdays too much, just because, of course, me trying to launch my website still, which is a month behind, and all personal work that I'm trying to get done.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough, when when everybody else is playing games on weekdays.
Yeah. I haven't really been playing much, especially in that multiplayer games, because I know all the friends are on. They're always playing games, and I don't do anything. I've been reading and doing other stuff. But what do you mean? You're making a website? What for?
Oh, just for my personal work, just for me as a
As
industrial
a
designer slash 3D visualizer.
sweet. Are you just you're just doing it to kind of keep track of things, or are you planning on like getting another job sometime soon?
No, just to keep track of things right now, just to incentivize me to put stuff out on the internet. You know,
Yeah.
not just for me to have it on my computer, but to put stuff out on the internet and know that, okay, I'm paying for this website, I should use it accordingly and put more more personal products on there, or products that I've worked on at Agati and stuff like there. Just because most industrial designers and or like designers in general have their own website just to brand themselves.
Yeah.
So I just been pretty lazy and not doing that, and I need to step up and start doing that. So
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
got that. Yeah, so that'll be fun. You mentioned you've been reading. Last time you were reading, or no, you were listening to what were you listening to? It was like a 48-hour audiobook or something.
Jesus, The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yeah.
I still have not finished it.
Oh no,
No, I'm an hour
no.
away. I have 1 hour left, and I just gave up.
like 8 hours.
I can see the finish line, man, and I just walked away. I just turned my back. on a
Just
marathon.
couldn't grab onto you. Just lose.
No, it's really good, but I don't know. I got to download that. Maybe this week I'll
It's
do
a
that.
long book.
I know.
It's a long book.
I went through 48 hours of it, and I just stopped. Like, what am I doing with my life? So I got to
don't
jump
know.
back in there and listen to an hour. Yeah, but I've been reading the Stormlight Archive. Have you heard of that?
I have not. Is that related to Red Rising at all? Because I know you mentioned that book before. And I know Ray's reading that book.
Oh no,
but-
Red Rising's awesome, and definitely put that on your list, man.
Okay.
It's the best trilogy I've ever read, probably. But no, I watched this guy Daniel Green on YouTube. I just came across him, and he reviews books, like fantasy books,
wow.
and he ranks them, and he always puts out videos and new content, and it's really inspiring. He's really interesting. But the amount of books he reads and the community there, it just somehow inspired me to like, all right, Dylan, you gotta, sit down, pick up some of your books, and just start getting through them, man. Because this guy, he's reading books like all the time, and I like books, so I gotta read more.
Yeah. I
So
love
this is
books.
by Brandon Sanderson. Have you heard of him? He does a bunch of different Mistborn and different books. The Stormlight Archive. It's huge, 12,000 pages. I'm on the third book, so think of like did I say 1,200 page books? And the new one's coming out in November. So it's been a decade. I think the first one came out in 2010. So I've been reading him for a long time. And the fourth book's coming out soon. So I'm just trying to finish up the third one before it comes out. That's what I'm working on.
I think I've seen this one, The Way of Kings. I think I saw that on
Yeah.
Audible or something.
Yeah,
when
I'm
I
sure
got
you've
it.
seen at least the picture of it. It's huge.
Man, there's so many books out there that I want to try. It's just
I know. That's what I'm saying. I got to start reading. Else
Yeah, I
I'll never
know.
get through them.
Well, because the same thing happened to me. Is one of my friends, Ryan, who moved to Chicago last year. When he moved here, and he read before too, but he would always like Snapchat, like, oh, reading this book, and it's like every month. And then his girlfriend, now fiance, is Snapchatting books they're reading, and I'm like, man, they're crushing it. Like every week they're reading a book. It feels like he like read through all the Harry Potter books, all Lord of the Rings books, and then he like read through there. And I was like, so that's why this year I was like, you know what? Okay, you don't have to read as much as them, but it's like every month finish a book. Yeah. You can easily devote enough time in a month to finish one book. Especially, what is it? I'm reading. Nobody can see this, but I'm reading the Witcher book. So I'm on the second to last book here. I got one more book after this, but this is the end of like the actual novel. So I'm excited because number one, this book's good and it's coming to an end. But number two, then I get to start a new trilogy after like one more book, and so not a new trilogy, but a new series.
So this is the last book of the Witcher series, and
No,
he's
no,
writing
they-
another one.
No, it's kind of weird. It's the first two books and the last book are just like short stories about Geralt, Ciri, Yennefer, kind of fleshing out the world.
Yeah.
But the books in between, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 books in between are actually a continuous story about Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer, like throughout.
Okay, so
throughout.
If I were, can I just pick up I can skip the short stories and just if I read that series or no?
You can. I don't think you'd be that lost, especially because you've watched the show and you've played some of the games. But I think the first two books give a lot of detail as the world, who Geralt is, like what a Witcher does, why he does it, and some really good stories. Which is like one of the first stories in there is why he becomes like known as the Butcher of Blaviken, which is also in the show.
Yeah.
That dope sword fight. So I guess you could skip the first two. I didn't. And I thoroughly enjoyed them because they are short stories. So it's like, you don't have to get invested. You could pick it up just for an hour and read one short story. And then you're like, okay, what if I forget any of that necessarily? It doesn't tie into the next one, which is fun, but I'd recommend you do because they're good. And again, they flesh out the world still. They flesh out like all the armies kind of going at war. The Nilfgaardians, Novigrad, all that.
Okay.
So I'd recommend it.
So I was telling you about this guy, Daniel Green, that I watch on YouTube, and he rated like all the fantasy series, and the Witcher series was like up top. Man, he loves this. I think he had it on par with Game of Thrones, like very up there. So I was curious, what do you think? Like, is it highly rated?
I really enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it. There are some chapters, which I guess they're fine. They flesh out the world, but they kind of stray from the main characters. And I'm a big fan of like when they just stick to the main character. That's just my own mind, how it works though. Yeah. But there are some stories, but they flesh it out in a good way that they like tie them together. So much so that a few chapters I've been reading, and then I get about like, I was like, okay, this is another story of somebody else necessarily, but then it like ties in very heavily to like Ciri or Witcher. So then I have to go back and reread it all because I'm just like, I was kind of grazing over it necessarily, but just like skimming. But I really enjoy them. I haven't read too many other fantasy books. I haven't read Game of Thrones. I mean, I wouldn't count Harry Potter as fantasy. It's magical.
I would consider it fantasy.
I wouldn't consider it like, I don't know. How would you like medieval fantasy?
It's not high fantasy. That's what I call like.
Is that what you call like swords and shields and all that, and witches and all that?
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. So this is probably like the first high fantasy like series that I've actually dug into. But so far I'm really enjoying it. I have the same feeling about how you had that about that anime where you want to like, oh man, I can't wait to go to bed tonight to watch it. I try to read in the mornings on the weekend. So like I wake up like at 8 or 7 and I just go out there, sit on my chair, and I just read with a cup of coffee. And so a lot of like times Friday night, especially now that it's quarantine and I'm not going out, it's like, oh, Friday night, 10 o'clock, I'm just going to go to bed so I can wake up and read in the morning. That's awesome. So they're really good. They're really good. I recommend them. If you haven't read them, they're a fun series. And they're not too long of books either. I think the longest one, which is the one I'm reading, is only like 550 pages.
So is that the short stories one?
No. The one I'm reading right now is the end of the novel. The one after that is the short stories one, which looks about the same thickness.
All right. And so from what you're, so it's tying up pretty well from what you're so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to put it on my list of books that I want to read because
it's good.
It sounds cool.
And I kind of want to replay the games after I read them, but the games are so long. I don't think I have the time to. I don't want to put the effort in. I'd rather just read another book.
I'm actually, that's because I haven't even beaten the game, but for some reason I'm like more interested in reading the books than finishing the game, which I know is horrible to say. I would rather just like watch you play the game. I'd rather just sit and watch someone else play, and I could just stream the game or watch a Twitch streamer or something. I guess, but
I'm sure you could find a VOD on YouTube too.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'll check out. I'll definitely put, because I think I have. What is it? I have the Name of the Wind, which is a book, apparently high fantasy. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, he's got a new book coming out.
Yeah, it's a part of the series too, I think. I have that book, and I've had it for like 4 years now. I just haven't started it. So I'm either going to do that one, or maybe I'll try out The Way of the Kings, or what is it? Ben, our friend, also is reading the Wheel of Time series.
Yeah, Robert Jordan.
Yeah, but that's too many books in the series, man.
Yeah, it's like 14.
It's like 14, yeah.
Yeah, and so Brandon Sanderson,
like hour-long episodes.
Brandon Sanderson finished that series. I don't know if Robert Jordan died.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. So that's what George R. R. Martin's going to pull when he's going to die. Someone else is going to finish his series. So Brandon Sanderson finished that series, and he also wrote the Stormlight Archive, which is what the book I was talking about that I'm reading, just to tie everything in a little bow there. But the Wheel of Time, it didn't look that interesting to me. It's more like basic fantasy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of more like Lord of the Rings, kind of like old school. That's what it seemed like to me. So So I don't know. It's not more like modern fantasy's a lot different, I guess you'd say. But I can go into detail. The listeners don't want to hear us talk about fantasy.
We talked a lot about books there.
Yeah.
Sorry, but hopefully listeners want to read too, and we just named some good books.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Should we do community emails real quick?
I think we should. I think it's about time. Community email.
We only got one email.
You still there, Dylan? Okay, cool. You froze
Did you hear me? I said we should do community emails.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good timing. Pull it up.
All right.
What's the email again, people, is dylanandmattpodcast@gmail.com. So if you want to email in, your email could be featured here if it's nice and not mean. All right, so how many emails do we have this week?
All right, we have a whopping one email. Okay.
Oh wow.
Some
Keeping a steady stream.
Person wrote in here. I'm not gonna say who they are. I'm not gonna reveal their name. It's all anonymous. Or maybe I can reveal. I don't know. They probably don't care.
They should note that in the email if you want your name read out loud.
Yeah, say it. No, they should specify anonymous if they don't want it.
That's
Right?
true.
Otherwise, I'm gonna tell people. But this person said, "Thank you for explaining the spot-on background for episode 1." I guess they meant the drawings I made were spot on, like they look like us. The drawings that I made.
Oh, okay, that's true.
And we explained
That's
that.
true. They
Yeah,
were spot on.
he said,
You
"Big
do
fan of the
glasses, I
new
have
style."
glasses.
Yeah, right. I mean, I had blue hair, you had green hair.
Yeah.
Exactly. He said, "Big fan of the new style, though. A lot of room for different color schemes." Oh, interesting. Yeah. Because Matt made he has a bunch of different designs. And maybe for a different season, every year we'll do a new background for a different season. I don't know. We'll come up with that later. He also said, "Matt, Carly effing Ray Jepsen." And then he wrote, in parentheses, wrote, "Edit a half hour later. Okay, good effing call. Bangers."
Oh, he listened to it?
Oh, yeah. So he went back and listened to the songs.
Okay. All right. That's good. I think, yeah, I mean, I feel like most people probably don't listen to her because, what is it? Her song, Call Me Maybe, blew up and everybody like wrote her off as just a very poppy, kind of like that Friday song from Rebecca Black.
Oh, Jesus.
Kind of just like, oh, it's one hit wonder, stuff like that. But her new CD does have some jams on it.
Yeah, they weren't bad.
She's a good pop artist.
I listened to the other artists you mentioned too.
Dua Lipa?
Yeah, and I wasn't a fan of her, I'll be honest.
Oh, really?
Not my style. Not my...
Okay.
Just not my jam. But, and then he also wrote Kygo's Sexual Healing Remix. So good.
He loves that song.
Which I funny...
I know who wrote this in, and I know he loves that song.
I mean, because that's... I remember you telling me about that maybe like 2016, like a long time ago, right?
Sexual Healing?
Yeah, right? The remix?
I thought that came out just more recently. Maybe not.
I was working at Ascension, I'm pretty sure. Like, as Ascension... Like,
you're right, that came out in 2013. Wow.
Yeah, so you told me about that a long time ago. So it's funny that they're like on top of it now, but it is a good song. So whatever.
Kygo makes some good remixes. That's how he first started, was remixing songs.
Yeah, that's how a lot of I guess they all kind of start off doing that.
That's true. Yeah, it's your way to get your music heard.
Yeah. So here we go, and then last thing he says is, "Would love to hear some effing breakdown of Dave or Space Force." Do you know who
Dave or okay? I know
Orr?
Dave. Space Force. I haven't watched. I'd have to ask if it's good. It looked fine. Do you know what Space Force is?
No.
It is a comedy on Netflix.
Is that the one with Steve Carell?
Yeah, they boast it's by the same people as The Office, and it's about, of course, the military is making a force that's in charge of like the army in space.
Yeah.
It looked fine. I haven't watched it yet though. It had a really good cast though, with like I forgot the exact. I mean, Steve Carell in it too.
Ben Schwartz, obviously. John Malkovich.
Ben Schwartz is yeah. So I haven't watched that yet. Maybe I'll watch that though, because maybe those episodes are short too. I didn't think it got fine reviews. Like, yeah, on Rotten Tomatoes it has like a 40%. So I wasn't necessarily hugely invested into it.
Yeah, same. I think I watched the first episode and was like, nothing grabbed me. And with so many TV shows out, it's just hard to find time to watch that one.
It's got to hook you, or else it feels like you're just kind of wasting time.
Yeah.
Which you are. But if you're having fun, then it's not time wasted. Yeah, and also it also is like showed as a comedy, but apparently it's not necessarily that funny in some points.
Right.
It's people are like, why did this get tagged as a comedy? It shouldn't have been.
It's supposed to be funny though. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a comedy. It's just a bad comedy. That's it.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Who knows? I mean, maybe maybe it needs to get a season going before, it gets really good. That's how, I mean, the first season of The Office it's good.
It's very good.
It's very dry and
Yeah.
it's rough. It's similar. It's like they wanted to be what the UK Office was.
Yeah. I mean, have you watched the British Office, by the way?
Yeah, I've watched like 2 episodes of it.
Okay, because like the first episode of the British Office and the first episode of the American Office are almost exactly the same. He puts a stapler in the Jello.
Yeah.
And like so many things happen. The Office was going to get canceled actually after the first season. They didn't like it in the U.S. But they told Michael Scott. They said his character was too unlikable. You don't like this guy. Nobody wants to watch the show because he's like so cringy. So in the second season they made a change, and he's very likable. That's why if you remember the episode, he goes to Tim Meadows and they go to Chili's or something, I think.
Yeah.
And like
he's saying, I want my baby back ribs.
Yeah, exactly. He turns out to be real likable. Tim Meadows likes him a lot, and they're laughing. And then he actually gets the sale, and everything works out in the end. And that makes people feel good. You know what I mean? And they kept going with that direction for the most part. I mean, they changed it up a little bit here and there, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So a little history for you out in The Office.
Yeah, so Space Force, maybe I'll check out. Do you know what Dave is?
Yeah, Dave Bird.
Yeah, on
Lil
Hulu.
Dicky.
Have
Dicky
you watched it?
I have watched all of it. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, what'd you think about it?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think it was fantastic.
I agree.
That's my base score. Yeah, I'm excited to see where that will go because I think this is his first season. I think he's just gonna get better and better at writing.
Is there gonna be a second season?
Oh, for sure. Right?
Sorry,
by the way, listen, he's looking it up.
Yeah, I know. It just went quiet. Okay, it says FXX has renewed the freshman comedy series for Dave. Well, I was just curious because Dave, the show, is his story of how he became a rapper.
Right.
And so it's like maybe what is Dave 2 or Dave season 2 going to be more like his lifestyle after now that he's got famous and he became a big rapper and stuff like that. I was just curious about that because
that's a good point.
I wasn't sure if he told the story that he wanted to tell and like Watchmen, one season done and out. Maybe he wants to do more things. But no, Dave I thought was fantastic. I mean, Dave Bird is very funny. I was very surprised at how well his acting was.
Yeah, he's a really good actor.
He had a great cast. What is it? His hype man. I forgot his hype man's name. On that show. Gata. That's actually his hype man in real life too.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know, which I thought was really cool. But no, the show's fantastic. The story of like him and his girlfriend and how like he just wanted to pursue music and she didn't necessarily want that necessarily. Was sad. It was a good show. It was heartfelt sometimes and it was very funny. Probably the funniest part, and I guess spoiler for this episode, was when do you remember? Maybe you know what I'm talking about. When they're on the hike. Do you know what I'm talking about? On the hike, when they're hiking with his girlfriend and their family, and they're talking about stuff, and then he's kind of like, "Oh, I think I have to poop," and he's like, "Don't touch me, don't touch me."
Oh yeah.
Right? And he just starts running around and he's like, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. That was probably one of the funniest parts about that episode. But I mean, the music was on point. I love shows with music in them because I like music myself. But yeah, I love Dave. I'm guessing this listener, did he watch it or did he,
now I know from personal experience that he watched it and he liked it a lot.
I could see this person liking Dave.
Yeah, he loved it, or he or she loved it, and I liked it a lot. I think I liked the little bits of like the storyline itself is funny, but like like the little things here and there that like little quips he says when he's at like dinner and he like says like something a little funny, or like they run over a raccoon and then it's not dead, so that he's like, well, what the hell am I supposed to run it over again? And she's like, you can put it out of its misery. He's like, you just want me to stomp it in the middle of the street? Like, I'm not gonna kill this thing. Like, I think those kind of weird those are really funny instances. And the one part where he puts his I love his manager. I think he's his comedic timing is so funny.
The redhead, right?
Yeah, he's a redhead guy. When he puts the drink on that table and it goes through. Do you remember that scene?
No, I
They're
don't.
using that table outside, and he puts a drink.
Oh, yeah. And there's a hole in the table.
Yeah. And then he just like looks at them like, oh, that was so funny.
That was very good.
So there
I
are
love
like
that they
little
kept
bits.
that table too.
Yeah. They're still using the table. It's disgusting. So check that show out, guys. Dave is really good. It's on Hulu. There's even an episode called Jail. Do you remember that episode where he just like it starts off as a song?
It's a big music video, pretty much.
Yeah, and it just keeps
it's
going
very
and
good.
going. And I was like, is this whole episode gonna be like this? And it's
I love
awesome.
that
It's
episode.
awesome. And I hope they do that again next season.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're getting another season too. Hopefully, it's another good story. Hopefully, it's still a down to earth human story like about him, because that
Yeah.
always is more interesting.
I'm sure he has plenty of stories to tell because, like I said, he's a very creative dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we have maybe that same person emails in next week or whenever we record another podcast and we read the emails.
Yeah.
And the email again is dylanandmattpodcast@gmail.com. We're about an hour right now. Do you have anything else we want to talk about?
Not really. I just want to say that maybe we try to record some in the future, not wait like 2 months or a month to record the next one, guys. I apologize for that. But we'll try to get these out more often. We got a lot to talk about, guys. Me and Matt are productive human beings. We go through a lot of media. And we'll make sure we try to bring you the best show we can.
Yeah. Sorry. What did I on my recording track? I have like a little snippet of you when I tried to splice our outro, and you just like shouted in my ear really quick because I didn't mute you. So that was funny.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. That was my fault. So yeah, hopefully we'll try to record not either next week or the week after that. Try to get maybe on like a bi-weekly schedule instead of a monthly schedule.
There you go. Bi-weekly.
That we have.
I like it.
That's good because that gives us time to have things to talk about. Yeah, cool. That is the end of this episode. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for anybody who emailed us with topics of discussion. Feel free to email us again if you have anything else you want us to talk about. We'll happily talk about it and possibly watch it or review it in a sense if we haven't heard about it in the next episode after that. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
Peace.